running with Maverick and Wolfman. Hey guys, welcome back. 2 episodes in 1 week, you lucky dogs, you. If you're enjoying running with Maverick and Wolfman, remember to like and share on Facebook, follow on Instagram, and tell a friend about the show. We appreciate all the support. Thank you so much. Guys, we've got a super special episode today. We've got Wolfman coming back from Florida, and we are going to discuss things with him today about his experience in the Dopey/Grumpy Challenge. Maverick here.
Wolfman here.
He sounds like a character from Disney.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Somewhere between recording after the half, I lost my voice. It's coming back. I don't know if it was the extreme exhaustion, the rain and running in it, or talking loudly to be heard because it's so loud everywhere you go. And you know how it is with 4 kids. I had to repeat myself 1,000 times.
All right. So you went all the way down to Florida, took all the kids. How was the trip? How was the vacation? Was it good?
It was good. It was a good trip. The kids had a blast. My daughter was excited. She met all the princesses. Exhausting, but it was good. The kids had a good time.
Great. It's fantastic. Yeah. All right. So you started off with the 5K.
Yep. It started with the 5K. That went pretty well. It was probably the biggest 5K I think I've ever done. Definitely the loudest. I mean, it was a party at 4 a.m. every day. And I mean, it was earlier than that, but things were really hopping by 4. So I don't know what time they actually set up. The first bus ran at 2:30. I don't know if they started the party at 2:30, but by the time I got there at like 3:30, it was booming.
That's every crazy.
Day. Oh, it was nuts.
Crazy.
It was nuts.
2:30. Oh my gosh.
I mean, Disney has it. They've got everything down. They've got everything down, and that included putting on these races. I mean, they do it right.
So did you feel good running the 5K?
Yeah, I felt good. I didn't push the 5, the 10, or the half a half. I just ran them comfortably how I felt. I felt good. There weren't many characters for the 5K, but it's a shorter distance. But I did stop and get my picture taken with Goofy and just ran how I felt. I didn't gear check the first 3 races. I just carried my phone and wore what I was going to wear. For the 5K, I put on sunglasses. I sent you this message. I put sunglasses on my hat like I always do for a race. And I thought to myself, and why the hell are you wearing sunglasses? The sun's not going to be up. And it's the only race.
It's sunny in Florida.
Yeah, but not at 5 a.m. But it's the only race other than the marathon that I have glasses on in the picture, not on my face, but on my head. And I still don't know why I did that.
That's terrific.
That's probably the only guy with sunglasses at 5 in the morning.
Look at this guy with sunglasses.
It's like bike shorts to a 5K. I was there to win, but I didn't win.
Oh, geez. All right. So you went through the 5K, then I'm sure you felt good, but then 10K comes up. So how'd you feel that day?
10K felt all right. I ran similar pace. The morning experience was the same. I was a little more relaxed that morning. For the 5K, I did a lot of how long does it take to do this? How long does it take to do that? Because on these blogs I followed, they were saying how it's hard to get through security and it could take hours and blah, blah, blah. But it didn't. I timed everything. I think the longest I waited for security was 5 minutes. So I was much more relaxed on day 2. But again, I ran just comfortably how I felt and just tried to pay attention to how were they starting things? How do I keep from getting bottlenecked on the full, which is what I wanted to avoid. I stopped for a few more pictures. Mainly on that one, I paid attention to what characters would my kids get mad if I didn't get a picture with them. And those are the ones I stopped for. So, but it was good. It was fun.
And you felt good the whole way?
I felt good the whole way. Yep.
Okay.
So I think both those races I ran like 7:30s-ish.
7:30 pace?
Around there, yeah.
Now, there's thousands of people, right? It's not.
Yeah. So 1,000. I looked this up because I wasn't sure and I wanted to know. So in the 5K, there were, actually, I don't have 5K. So this was interesting. They only time the 5K for those people that are doing the Dopey challenge. So there's no actual official results for the 5K.
What?
So, yeah. So the only ones being timed in the 5K officially are the ones doing the Dopey challenge. But
That's so weird.
yeah, I thought that was odd too. I have an official time for the 5K, but there's no official results. But I don't know how many people in the 5K. But I guarantee it was the biggest 5K I ever ran. Probably the same with the 10K. In the 10K, there were, did I write this correctly? Yeah. 1,571 people, I think. I'm going to double check that because I have 2 ones written down there at the beginning. I find it hard to believe there were 11,000 people in the 10K.
You never know. It is the magic of Disney.
It is. For the half a half, there were 1,000.
Wait. Time out. We got to give these people a little more background here. So the half marathon was changed. Why was it changed?
So there were some severe thunderstorms moving through Florida, potentially in the afternoon. Well, they were supposed to start at like 10 in the morning or something like that. So Disney made the decision to shorten the half marathon, and they shortened it to 7.1, 7.2 miles to close the course at 8 o'clock to have all the volunteers and all the racers out of danger.
Can I just say something? I'm just going to say what everyone else is thinking right now.
Go for it.
Disney will send Anna and Elsa's parents out into a storm to die. Okay. But they won't let you run a half marathon in a storm. I just don't get
it. That's true. I wrote these numbers down correctly. There were 11,571 people in the 10K. 11,000 for a 10K.
It's really not that much. It's just like a college race.
Yeah. So yeah, they shortened the half to just over 7 miles, which people were disappointed about. I was disappointed. Some people, of course, were irate. One of the first things on the blog for Saturday morning was, I just got up. I made my way to the bus. It's not even raining yet. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't forecasted to start raining until 7:30 or 8 o'clock, which they said in the email, right? I did know some people that were down there and they asked me to come run with them to make up the mileage, but I did not. I took it as a sign that I should rest my legs to focus for the full. So the morning of the half a half, which they call a grumpy event, I guess, because one of the first years they had to change something. Of course, people got upset and they started calling it grumpy events. So I thought it would be pretty neat. And I'm going to write Run Disney about this. If maybe they'll call it the Wolfman medal, but they should make a medal on standby. It doesn't even have to have a year. So they could reuse it anytime they want. And it should be a grumpy medal that if you are there a year that you participate in an event that has to be changed, you get a complimentary medal. That would probably make people a lot happier.
How many medals then?
I don't know.
Now, how many medals would you get then total if you added the
if you had a grumpy one, 7. If you did the Dopey.
7, got it.
Yeah. I got 6 though.
Hey, how much did you have to pay for to fly that back?
Oh, I didn't have to pay anything.
With the weight increase.
I put it in my carry-on. Some people wore it, but So I took the opportunity to rest my legs. Now that day, they changed my corral. So the first 2 days I was in Corral A, which is right toward the front. And then the next 2 days I was going to be in Corral C. So what I did on that day was try to see how easy it was to get to the very front, because the corrals opened at, I think it was 4:15. You could get into your corral. And I got there at 4:20 or 4:25 or something like that. And I think I got 30 feet from the front. I could not get any more forward. People were already there and they're sitting down, laying down, whatever. And it's like, really?
So the Grumpy,
Yeah,
you PR'd in that.
I did.
7.2.
Yeah. So that was kind of the joke with people. Like one guy was kind of frustrated about it. And I heard the guy next to him say like, hey man, you're going to PR in a 7.2 miler. And I was like, that's right. We're PRing today. And I was a little more sore that day though. I'm not going to lie, but I stopped every character I found interesting. I stopped at, got my picture taken. They have some obscure characters on these race courses, like characters that I don't know why you would want your picture taken with them. And maybe that's why they're the ones that have to get up at 4 a.m. But like, you're coming
Cinderella's
up on
not
a
getting up at 4,
sign.
buddy.
And what's that?
Cinderella's not getting up at 4.
Funny enough, she was one of the ones eventually. There's always big ones, but most of them are like these random characters.
Because of the stepmother, she sent her out. And I get
Probably.
I get it.
You figure out that like music is playing like the whole way. And as you get closer to one of these characters, it's kind of the movie music or whatever from the movie that they're going to be in. So like you're running up on it and you start to hear, Mulan, for instance. So you're like, oh, wow, you get my picture taken with Mulan. And then you get up there and it's like the Huns Falcon.
I don't know what that is.
Who's getting their picture with the Huns Falcon on that one?
Still don't know what that is.
What is this? Ran by Handy Manny. Like, who's getting their picture taken with Handy Manny? Maybe my 6-year-old, but I'm almost 40. So anyway, I stopped a lot more. I really took my time. My legs were sore, but yeah, I PR'd. So that was good. So in that race, there were 16,032 people.
Wow.
16,000.
So after you got done with the races, right? How are you walking around the park? Like up to this point, up to the 7.2 miler, how were you feeling walking around the park? How was the experience?
Sore, but good. I think the worst was probably, I can't remember which day it was, but it was the first day that I got like no sleep, like so little sleep that my watch didn't even record any sleep stats. So there must be a threshold you have to hit.
I think it's because your heart rate didn't change enough.
Yeah, probably. So that day was just rough, more, not so much physically, just I was exhausted and I was grumpy by the end of the day, and I didn't have a ton of patience by the end of that day. But the rest of the trip, it was good. I tried to do better with that, but it was not too bad. Those first 2 days weren't bad at all. I was a little more sore after that grumpy event, and so they give you these race shirts, right? One for each race. So that day I wore that half marathon shirt and I put a piece of athletic tape across it that said Grumpy 7 miler 2024. And everybody that ran the race that passed me in the park that day thought that was pretty good.
That's great.
And then you sent me a friend of yours you can get these pins at Disney. If you've never been to Disney, you can get pins for all kinds of stuff. So you tell them you're celebrating something and they got a pin that said, I'm celebrating a 7.2 mile PR or something like that, which I thought that was pretty good too.
Right, that was great.
Funny. So most people took it in stride, but people were upset that it was not a full half. So
right. And they named the event after them.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's move to the marathon, because I know the marathon was your big event that you were gearing up for.
Yeah. So the marathon was my focus the entire time. That was the second day that my watch did not record any kind of sleep activity, which is a great sign going into a marathon. My watch does a morning report, right? And it told me that I was not ready to do any kind of physical activity. due to excessive fatigue due to poor sleep, and that I should not do anything that day. So that's another great sign starting a marathon. But I didn't listen to my watch, and I went down and I did it anyway. So that day things started a little earlier, and I really wanted to get to the front of that corral. So that day I woke up earlier and I went in, and I forgot my coffee in my room, and I was like, great. So I went back up and I got it. So then I was like, you know what? Now you're not getting there at the opening of this corral. So you shouldn't even worry about it. You're not getting to the front of the thing. You're just going to have to go with the punches and do whatever happens. So I took my time. I got another coffee when I got there, got a banana, ate that, did my gear check. And then I went to the starting corral and I walked right up to the front. Just stepped over people, no problem, all the way to the front. I was like, sweet. It was meant to be. I was supposed to forget that coffee and be a few minutes late. And if this was the case, I didn't have to wake up any earlier. So that was great. Again, though, the music pumping, all that fun stuff. Got to the front, and in that one, there were 12,694 people. We were Corral C, so we actually started 12 minutes after the race started. So the way they did it was they had corrals A, B, C, D, and I think it went all the way to F. And in A and B anyway, there were 3 waves in the corral, and each wave started 2 minutes apart. So we were 12 minutes behind the start when we went off. And it started out okay. And then at one point, as you start in Epcot and you end in Epcot, but at one point as we're starting through Epcot, it bottlenecked, and that really slowed things down a little bit. But I got through that, kept going. And I will say, I've done big races, even that 12,000 people, it's not the biggest. I think Boston's bigger, but I've never been bottlenecked like that in a race. But again, Disney does it right. There's music and there's stuff the whole way. Like part of this is on the highway and they still have stuff going on. But that was probably the toughest marathon I've done too. And I think it's because just lack of sleep and the parks and being tired. My legs were sore from the start. So I knew from the start I was not going to hit. I wanted to get as close to 3 hours as I could. And to do that, I had to run around 7 minutes. And I knew right from the start that was not going to happen. So I settled into about 7:10, 7:15 pace for a while. I would say I hit the physical wall probably at about mile 10 or 11, where my legs just felt numb. They were moving, but I don't really know how, right? And then probably at about mile 20, I hit the mental wall. At that point, too, it had been raining for quite a bit, which was not in the forecast. That came out of nowhere. And it was a good rain for about 20 or 30 minutes. But I knew at that point we were back on the highway. But I knew if I could get to mile 23 or so, we were back in the parks, and the crowds at the parks were just phenomenal. And I knew that would carry me through. By that point, I'd settled down into about 7:20, 7:30 pace, got to the parks, and used the crowd to carry me the rest of the way.
Isn't that cheating?
I guess. I mean, my feet were still technically on the ground.
In Vibrams, by the way.
I saw one other guy in Vibrams. There were at least 2 of us. I think that was in the Grumpy. I forget which event it was in, but there was one guy in Vibrams as well. So take that. There's 2 of us.
The lonely 2.
Now we are a wolf pack of 2. I saw the sunrise over Mount Everest because we were at Animal Kingdom at that point. So that was cool. But yeah, it was probably the toughest marathon I think I've done. So that was my 13th marathon. I ran 3 3 hours, 14 minutes, and 15 seconds, which was the fastest one I've done since 2014. So that was good.
When was the last one you ran before this?
So the last one I did before this was 2015.
Wow.
I ran a 3:17.
Wow.
So
you ran faster?
Yeah, I ran it faster on much less sleep, I'm sure.
What sleep?
But I was, even though I did not meet all my goals, I was still pleased. It was, like I said, I knew it wasn't going to be easy. Don't get me wrong, but that was tough. That was tough.
That was dopey.
Yeah, it was dopey, but it was good. It was good.
Great. You did a great job, man. Fantastic.
Hey, thanks. Appreciate it.
I would have done the 5K.
But
I'm sure all our listeners that, those that did it are probably feeling just as bad as you are right now. And those that didn't do it are just probably in awe like I am. So Congrats. Way to go. I look forward to you doing it again next year.
I was talking to one of our listeners who happened to be there. I think it's a one and done. Although I think I convinced Wolfman Jr. to do it in about 20 years. We're going to do it together, is what I told him. So maybe in 20 years. Well, I would do it again too if it weren't so exhausting and the price tag was better.
It's so cheap.
Yeah, cheapest price I ever did. If I had a mortgage to pay, we wouldn't be paying it.
No, but honestly, man, great job. Phenomenal.
Thank you.
Just impressive all around. And you probably lost your voice from all that partying at 2:30 and 4 a.m.
I know, right? Yeah, I don't know what happened. It like all of a sudden gone.
That's it. So. That's it. But yeah, wonderful, terrific. Thanks for sharing with us. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it was fun.
I'm sure everyone's going to be waiting for the next event, though. The next announcement.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been trying to think of what I'm going to do next. I don't know. It's going to be a full marathon. I know that. I just don't know what one.
Sounds good.
So, but it'll be before the end of the year. So, well, I'm sure we'll cover it.
Very good. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Maverick and Wolfman running out.